And now it is time to see whether the vehicles we've made in the last episode will bring us any money. I'm really hoping it will, because we are investing an absolute boatload of money into these cars, so I am expecting a boatload of profit back. Hello everybody, I hope you're all doing well and welcome back to the automation campaign, where in the last episode we facelifted the front moat. I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it, the front moat, and the Dancer, which is our little new minivan, which I'm really happy with. From a design standpoint, I think this vehicle turned out amazing, especially the interior. I'm still amazed at how good that interior turned out, but I mean, I did spend a lot of time making it, but I no regrets, honestly. I'm really happy with the way this vehicle turned out. So, first thing we're going to do is we're going to try and make sure that we have at least some vehicles for our stock. So we're going to try. So what month does this start at? So start production 03. So we'll do about. So if this is 03, we'll do about 8th month. So what was that, August? And what we're going to try and do is we're going to try and make sure that we have some cars still available to us once the factory goes up for sale, or gets retooled for the new vehicle. So actually, let's do this about 6 months. At the 6 months, so June. And what this is going to do, hopefully, if we manage to get the pre-orders done in time, is that we will have enough vehicles available to us while this factory is being retooled, so that we can still make some money from the cars that we have made. So yeah, let's begin with with fast forwarding the time. And so, as the year of 1986 draws to a close, both of our vehicles have finished engineering, and we played our cards pretty well, I want to say. So, up until the end of the Promotes production, the Promotes production, we were making money even though we had two factories being built at the same time. As soon as that vehicle stopped being produced, that's when the problems started coming, and we did lose a hefty chunk of money, but I think it's worth it in the end. So we can now have a look and see whether these vehicles will make us any profit. 94 million profit, mostly from the Promote, but also a decent chunk from our little minivan, which is really exciting. And I hope that the both engine factories are being overworked, so that's a bit of an issue. But I mean, I was sort of expecting that anyway. But if we're making 94 million, let's go to the end of 1987. But yeah, no, the 1986, sorry, but. No, honestly, I'm really happy with the way that this turned out now. Nearly 100 million in profits each month, just from two vehicles. That is a really good chunk of money that we're making here, and that will help us massively when it comes to trying to design a new vehicle. Right now, what we're going to be doing is we are going to be entering a third facelift with the Promote. Or we could even try and make a new vehicle based on the Promote. Mainly because the desirability ratio on this vehicle isn't exactly as high as I would like it. But from a price standpoint, this vehicle is really good. The reason why I think the Dancer is not making as much money as we would like is mainly because it is a bit expensive for the customer. So the way that this works is that you set a price for the car for the dealership. So the dealerships buy the car for that price that you set, and then they'll sell it on for a dealership price, so that dealership makes money from the car. So yeah, I think this is going really well. We have got how many 60,000 pre-orders on this car. That is a lot of pre-orders. That is a lot of pre-orders. But yeah, so let's begin on making a new version of the format. And this is the body we're going to be using, or moreover the platform we're going to be using. And because we're able to design this ourselves now, we can actually make it a longitudinal engine, which is what I wanted this vehicle to be from the beginning. But due to us having been given the platform for that vehicle, that the old vehicle of this from mode, we couldn't do a longitudinal engine, which means we were stuck to front wheel drive, but now we can do at least rear wheel drive with this vehicle, which I'm really excited for. And one more thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be facelifting the engines on our vehicle, so hopefully we can add a turbo variant to this engine. And one thing we are going to do is we're going to add VVT. Hopefully we can produce this engine in time, but it increases our horsepower a little bit, it's a start. But one thing I am definitely looking forward to is making a turbocharged variant of this engine. And one more thing I'm also going to do is I'm going to put in multi-point fuel injection. I hope we can produce this engine in time for it to actually make for us to be able to use it in this vehicle. If not, we can just increase the time in which the current vehicle is in engineering for, which actually, to be fair, is going to be quite a while anyway, because we are designing this vehicle from new. So let me fiddle around with this engine a little bit. I'm going to try and see if I can get around 150 horsepower out of this engine, and I'll be back with you shortly. And yeah, so in the end, this engine managed to get 150 horsepower. We've got an increase on fuel efficiency, and I think that's more torque than our old engine had. But yeah, I'm really happy with the way that this specific engine turned out. Let's now do the eco. Well, is it an eco variant? Oh, with the more eco-friendly variant. Let's do the same thing. And so, after not all that much work to this engine, actually, we managed to get 120 horsepower out of it, more torque than the R variant of this engine, and an incredible 21.5% fuel efficiency. I think this engine might be our winning engine here. The R variant will be more of the sporty engine, this will be more the everyday sort of, everyone has this kind of engine in their vehicle. Which I'm really happy with, because we managed to keep the 8,000 RPM red line on all the engines so far. So let's go make a turbo variant, and then we'll go on to producing the car. And so here we have it, the turbo variant of our engine, and 220 horsepowers. Crazy. I mean, the turbo does spool quite late, I couldn't do much more about it, but nearly 300 newton meters of torque, 200 horsepower. Those are just some ridiculous numbers for an engine of this time. So let's go on and actually make the vehicle. So we've got the coupe variant here with the 4 doors, and I think this is going to be our standard body for just generally the whole vehicle. We are going to use rear-wheel drive, and we are going to go with a manual 5-speed due to the size of the engine. We're going to go with a bit of overdrive, and yeah, we're going to just try and make this be a decent vehicle. So we'll do about that on the gear ratios. We'll do a geared LSD, so a geared limited slip diff on the rear. We're going to do radial medium compound tyres, and we're going to make them 205s all round, I think. That should be a decent size. Let's do alloys on this vehicle. We still want this car to be somewhat premium, as per the requirements from our parent company. We'll do a 2-piston vented disc on the front, and we'll do a single piston vented disc on the rear. Hopefully that'll be enough to get the car slowed down in a decent manner. This is of course going to be the more sporty variant, so we're going to go with a more sporty pad type. And we're going to go with a semi-clad under tray. We are going to do 2 full seats in the rear, I think. Or do we want... No, we want this still to be a family car, so we'll do 3 full seats in the rear, as we do have rear doors. We're going to go with a premium. we're going to go with, we have cassettes now, we're going to go with the premium cassette. And yeah, we're going to go with, do we want to go manual or hydraulic? We'll go with a manual manual steering for the time being. We'll do just ABS, as traction control is one of those things that were, I mean, to be fair, we can do traction control. It's not that hard to implement. It goes based off of the wheel rotation sensor, and when it sees it spinning too fast, it just puts the brake on that wheel. So that shouldn't be too hard if we wanted to actually do that. We'll do standard 80 safety. We will do progressive and gas monotube suspension, and the car is oversteering like crazy. Let's see if we can sort that out. No. So basically we want to try and make this car be a bit understeery. From a desirability standpoint, this vehicle does seem to be matching most of the most of the demographics that we want to try and hit. We do have the turbo variant of the engine in this vehicle right now, so that's definitely a bit of a help. So yeah, let's have a look at what we can do to make this vehicle sellable. And so we now have a base platform for the vehicle which we're going to be using, and it works. I'm really happy with it. So let's get on to designing this vehicle, and yeah, I'll be back with you guys shortly. And here we have it, the final design of the replacement to the original Fromote, the new Fromote, which is the turbo variant, and I think this turned out really nice. These are supposed to be pop-up headlights. I have no idea how or if or when or whatever, if I could ever get them to work. I don't think I can. I don't have the ability for that, but I think from a design standpoint, I think this looks really interesting because it has that sort of Japanese with the pop-up headlights and the indicators and the way that everything's placed on the front with the lower half of the bumper, but then this sort of almost a little bit awkward sort of grille placement, which makes it feel a little bit different to a Japanese car, which is what I think works really well for this car, considering it is supposed to be a different car. And yeah, I mean, I'm really happy with the way that this car turned out. It has some decent design features, I think. The interior turned out pretty nice, I think. And yeah, so let's make a toned down version without the rear wing and the vortex generators and stuff like that, and I'll be back with you guys shortly. And here we have the sporty variant with the 150 horsepower engine. I think this looks almost better actually, without all the aero and stuff. It looks like a genuinely nice car, especially in this red that I've sort of managed to mix together a little bit. But yeah, no, I'm really happy with the design of this vehicle, so let's just make the one last eco variant and then we'll get this car up for sale. So yeah, here we have it, the final variant, the cheapest variant, the exclusive, and I've also renamed the other one Platinum because I feel like that suits the car a little bit better. But yeah, I'm really liking the design of this vehicle. I've put some smaller wheels onto it and I've given it, I guess, a more boring paint job. But yeah, I think this works out really well, so let's get on to selling the car. And so, let's see if we can get these vehicles up for sale, and that's actually alright. I don't know how. I need to first have a look at how long it's going to take for this engine to actually be built, like how long it'll take. So I want to try and make this a reliable engine, so we're going to increase reliability a little bit. We're going to increase the learning and see if we can get this car out, this engine out in about 48 months. That would be like the dream spot for me, I think. We don't want to make this too expensive, as we still want to actually earn money. But 48 months for 38 million, I think that's fair enough for an engine of this caliber. So we're going to try and aim to have this vehicle and our minivan be built by this time. And now we can actually make a larger engine. We're going to have to make a much larger factory, actually, come to think about it. So let's increase the engine factory to a huge amount. And the factories are still being overworked like crazy, but that's because the other factory hasn't actually come in yet. So we're going to take out both of these, the original engines, and for some reason the engine factories are going to be hugely overworked, but I highly doubt that once the workforce actually comes in. So we're going to increase the quality. Actually, to be fair, 45 months until 2.5 shifts, that's fine. So let's do that. 300 million for the factory, which honestly I'm fine with. Yes, the factory looks like it's going to be overworked, but that's just because the other engine isn't going to be produced in this factory anymore, which yeah, is a problem. I don't know. Actually, that is a problem. How long will it take for this factory to be built? Where do I see that? 13 months to build the factory, so that'll be fine actually. I'm alright with that. 13 months. It could be a lot worse, so let's complete this, I guess. So that's about 300 million right there, so 350 million for the whole factory. Then we're going to do the same thing. Let's see if we've already got the biggest factory available to us here, which, yeah, that's good. That's good. I'm happy with that. 1 month to actually reach for it to build the factory, and yeah, so we can increase worker quality, I guess, for a little bit. Okay, we can increase it by 4. But no, we're going to take off these engines, which means yeah, these three, the turbo engine, the eco engine, and the sports engine, will be still produced in this factory as well. So yeah, we don't have a production rate. That's fine though. So let's see if we can produce more engines in this factory. That would sort of be my target. Actually, we should probably try and target that with the other factory as well. So let's increase the tooling quality. Actually, a lot by this factory. We can do that. We can afford that because this factory is quite cheap. So if we increase automation a bit as well, we're going to be producing a lot more engines here for a cheaper price, which is good. I'm happy with that. So let's complete the design on this factory. 70 million for this factory. And yeah, I'm going to go back into this factory real quick and edit that. And yeah. And so, this is the best I could do. We managed to make, I think, a few hundred more engines per, like, of each variant. We managed to make a few hundred more engines, which is really good, for only 70 million more. So, let's see, we can increase this a little bit. I mean, we could pay them a little bit more, but then the engines will cost a lot more to make, but we do make more of them. So let's increase the wages by 5%, increase the worker quality a little bit, so we actually produce more engines. Oh yeah, we produce more engines. Oh yes, 9,000 engines, 7,800 of the turbos, which is actually a lot more than we need, but we'll see how that engine sells. So let's complete the design of this. Now we can actually go back into the... Yep, sign off on this. We can go back into the vehicle, and now we actually know we want this car to release in 48 months. So, where's the issue here? The engine used by... we'll ignore that for the time being. So we'll do it a little bit cheaper. We want the car to be reliable, so we put reliability up a bit. We can learn a little bit from the car, but not too much. And yeah, let's make it a little bit cheaper so we save money on this vehicle, on the actual design stage. And yes, reliability. I'm happy with this. This should be good. So let's go into the factory. So we want to go into this factory. There you go. Now we don't actually want to make a bigger factory, although we could sell more cars theoretically. I think that's a bad idea because the amount of cars we would need to be making, or the engines we'd need to be making for these cars would be ridiculous. So we are making enough engines per trim easily, so that should hopefully be a bonus for us. And we can increase tooling a little bit so we produce a few more cars, but I think where we are now is a really good stage. $10,000 possible profit per vehicle on average, which I'm happy with that. That's really good. So let's complete the design on this. 250 million again. So this vehicle is going to be expensive. That's over 600 million we are spending to try and make this vehicle work, which we need to make back once the vehicle goes on sale. So let's have a look here. So the turbo is going to be 12,000, the platinum's going to be 11,000, and the exclusive is going to be 10,000. And let's calculate a forecast, and hopefully the vehicle will sell. Which, judging by the looks of things, are... Oh! Hello! That's profits. That's a lot of profit. I'm very happy with this. This works a lot for me. So I think this vehicle will sell really well, considering we also have a premium interior and everything. It's not that much more expensive than our previous vehicle. It has the updated engine in it. It has, well, pretty much everything sorted for it. So engines, we definitely have enough engines for this vehicle, which is amazing. So these are the factories. So as long as we can get the previous car built by 1990s, we should be able to sell the cars on while this factory is being built, so we don't lose that much money. This could work. I'm very excited for this. So let's complete the design. And how much will it cost? 800 million. I'm tempted to take out just a tiny loan to try and just in case. So 9.7 million a month. We'll do 60 months. So that's 6 million a month, which we're paying back. That's fine. I think this works. I'm happy with this. So let's sign off on the project. And yeah, here it is. Huge project. Huge project. So yeah, I mean, let's have a little drive of this vehicle in BeamNG, and then we'll round out the video. And here we have it. For some reason, only the turbo variant of this model came through into BeamNG, but I think this car looks even better in BeamNG than it does automation. This genuinely looks really nice, I think. So, I mean, what do you guys think? I'm really happy with the design of this vehicle, and the engine sounds amazing as well. So, yeah, let's give it a little drive. Let's see what it's like. It's fast, I can tell you that. I've already had a little test drive in it, and it is fast. So... this is so fast! And the exhaust crackles as well. This is an... oh, I love this car. I love this car. This is such a nice car. Oh, wheel spin going into the next gear as well. Oh my goodness. This is such a nice car. But yeah, let's give this car a little try, driving it through like some country roads. I imagine that this car will be so at home on country roads like this. It is ridiculous how quick this car is though. Absolutely astounding, and it actually takes corners really nicely as well. Oh, not that one. So let's try this again, but this time I've turned off traction control. I want to see how fast this car really is. I feel like the traction control is holding it back a little bit. Oh, it is very slidey. Very slidey. This car is a handful. We're gonna go up this little road to the left here, I think. This looks like it could be a little fun road. Sort of a twisty mountain pass style road. I can't get the power down. Oh, here comes the corner. Oh no! Ah! And I spun it. So let's try. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Let's see what we can do here. This car is such a handful. You really have to make sure the car's doing exactly what you want it to do, otherwise it's just correcting the whole time, but it's just so much fun. Oh, I hope I haven't bent anything there. Oh. And that 8,000 RPM red line is just incredible. I'm amazed that I managed to keep that. How did it spin going into third gear? But yeah, no, this car is incredible. I really love the way that this car drives. It's such a handful, but that's sort of the point of this car. With that massive turbo, it's never going to be easy to drive a car like this. So as long as you need to be a really good driver to be able to drive this car, which I clearly am not. So yeah, let's give the, what is this, the Platinum? Let's give the Platinum a try. I think this car actually, from a design standpoint, looks even better without the wing and the vortex generators and stuff like that. I just really like the simple yet sophisticated design on this car. It's I don't know, just something about it really just clicks. And I really like it, I really do. And from a driving standpoint, this car's also really nice to drive. As like just a normal daily driver runabout sort of thing. Of course it's more of a premium vehicle, so it does have that 150 horsepower, which really do push the car along. I mean, it's more than you'll ever need in a car like this, but it's just nice to have. Oh, no, I do genuinely love this car. I love the engine specifically. I know some people won't like the idea of it having an 8,000 RPM redline, but why not? Why not have an 8,000 RPM redline? You could just, if you can do it and make it viable, I think you should. And I think it gives the car a lot of character, just being able to rev it out all the way to the moon, basically. It's crazy. I mean, it's pretty much exactly what you would want from a car like this. It's smooth, it's not too loud. It does what you want it to do. I mean, can I? No, I can't go up that road. But it's, I like it. It's just, it it's very balanced, this vehicle. I mean, yes, it's quite oversteering and more on the sporty side. But if you're not pushing it, like here, it just darts around exactly where you want it to go. And it's brilliant. And here we have the final vehicle, the exclusive, which is pretty much just a toned down version of the Platinum. It's got smaller wheels, it's got a smaller engine, it does have the same gearbox and suspension setup, but honestly not much has changed about it. And this is sort of the fleet car, I'd imagine. The car that you would sell to massive companies who want to give their employees some nice cars. That's sort of where I envisioned this car to be. And it really does fill that role quite well. It has 120 horsepower, it has 185 newton meters of torque, and it's got a premium interior with a premium cassette player and everything. It's just exactly what you'd want this car to be. It's somewhat economical with just over 8 liters per 100 kilometers of combined use. And yeah, it gets you from place A to B comfortably and relatively quickly. With the 120 horsepower, that's still quite a lot for the time. So yeah, I think this rounds out the whole entire range quite nicely. This vehicle does. We've got the sporty version in the turbo. We've got this the sort of common vehicle, the common one in the Platinum, and we've got the fleet version in the exclusive. And I feel like if this was a real car, I'd say it would sell well, especially at the price point that we're selling it at, because this is technically a premium car, but it's priced very, very competitively. Let's give this car a little thrashing just for fun. I feel like it could be really fun in this vehicle. It is a lot more understeery than all the other cars, and due to the open diff, it won't be oversteering as much because it'll just be spinning one tire through, but I think this is exactly what this car should be. It shouldn't be sporty, well, it shouldn't be too sporty. It should be fun to drive, obviously. That's sort of what we want to try and make, is we want to make fun to drive cars, and I feel like the engine does definitely help with that. But yeah, this car is a lot more controllable than the turbo, but the turbo has almost twice the amount of power. And this engine is quite loud as well, once you really get on the throttle. I mean, it's a little tight. It's got 120 horsepower, but an 8,000 RPM redline. I still can't get over how much fun it is just to rev this engine out to the absolute maximum. And to be fair, this car is really fun to drive as well. It's handling the corners really nicely. Yes, it's understeering and it's not taking the corners as well as it could do, but it's not supposed to be driven like this. And even though ooh, oh, we just about made it. But yeah, I mean, it's fun to know that you can actually do that in this car. You could drive it for fun, and I really like this model. I want it to sell well. I can't get over how much fun this vehicle is. Look at that! I feel like this car would make for a really good DTM sort of vehicle, sort of a homologation racing special. Oh, I've overcooked that a little bit, but yeah, I mean, this vehicle is just a lot of fun, and I really hope that you guys enjoy it as well. But I think the video is going to be too long if I keep going on about this car, so I'm going to end it there. I hope you guys have an amazing day, and I've had a lot of fun making this episode for you. So yeah, take care guys, bye bye.